Welcome to Warn. Today's news headlines are: ahead of PM Modi's visit, US approves sale of 22 Guardian unmanned drones to India. Just days before Prime Minister Narendra Modi meets President Donald Trump for the first time in Washington, the US has cleared the sale of 22 unmanned Guardian drones to India, news agency Press Trust of India reported on Thursday. The report added that the deal has been approved by the US State Department and has been communicated to the Indian government and the manufacturer of the drone, California-based General Atomics. Securing agreement on the purchase of the 22 unarmed drones, reportedly worth more than $2 billion, was seen in Delhi as a key test of defense ties that flourished under former President Barack Obama but drifted under Mr. Trump, who has courted India's rival China as he seeks Beijing's help to contain North Korea's nuclear program. Highlights: the 22 unarmed drones reportedly worth more than $2 billion. Indian Navy is getting drones to keep watch over the Indian Ocean. India, US will also discuss sale of US fighter jets during PM Modi's trip. UN has a responsibility to resolve Kashmir issue, Pakistan. Pakistan said on Thursday that the UN has a responsibility to resolve the Kashmir issue, days after UN Chief Antonio Guterres stated that he is engaged in bringing about an Indo-Pak dialogue to resolve the matter. Foreign Office spokesperson Nafis Zakaria, at his weekly briefing, said Kashmir is an internationally recognized dispute and is outstanding on the UN Security Council agenda. UN has a responsibility by virtue of these UN Security Council resolutions to resolve the issue and call upon India to immediately stop bloodshed of Kashmiris, he said. Zakaria lamented that the relevant UN Security Council resolutions on the Kashmir dispute, which promise Kashmiris their right to self-determination in accordance with their wishes and aspirations, remain unimplemented. Army's search for basic assault rifle set to start again. The Army's continued efforts to procure a basic assault rifle is all set to start again. Specifications for a new 7.62mm assault rifle are expected to be finalized in the next few days, after which a global tender will be issued. This comes even as the Army has rejected the indigenous rifle developed by the Ordnance Factory Board, OFB, which is currently undergoing trials. US will need India to counter China, US think tank. Even as the Trump administration is cozying up to the Chinese, the US will need India to counter Beijing's growing influence in the world, a top American think tank has said. Describing India as a key piece in the jigsaw for the US, the Atlantic Council urged the Trump administration to prioritize its ties with New Delhi. Given the advancements that China has made both economically and militarily, the US will need to channel considerable resources to assert its global and regional primacy, Atlantic Council, a top American think tank said in a policy paper transforming India from a balancing to leading power released ahead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit here. To accomplish this, India remains a key piece in the jigsaw for the US. President Donald Trump will need to assure India that it is not merely a regional prop to balance Beijing's power in the region, but a top priority for US foreign policy under the Trump administration, said the policy paper authored jointly by the former Union Minister Manish Tiwari and Bharat Gopalaswamy, director of the South Asia Center of the Atlantic Council. While Trump has favored rapprochement with Beijing so far, there will need to be more initiative and effort from Washington to ensure that India-US relations continue to strengthen. The Asia-Pacific Stability Initiative proposed by Senator John McCain could be one effective way to signal the United States' intent towards India, it said. The proposed $7.5 billion funding, if approved, could be a starting point for further India-US engagement in the years to come, they wrote. India flawlessly launches Eye in the Sky satellite. The Indian Space Research Organisation, ISRO, has successfully launched Earth observation satellite CARTOSAT-2 series weighing 712 kilograms and 30 CO passenger satellites, 29 foreign, 1 Indian, with its Rocket Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, PSLV. According to ISRO, the countdown for the launch of the satellites, that also includes 29 foreign and 1 Indian, from Sriharikota in Andhra Pradesh began at 5.29 am. The PSLV rocket's XL variant was lifted off at 9.29 am from the Sriharikota rocket port. ISRO gets ready to launch GSAT-17 after 5 days from French Guiana. Space agency ISRO is all set to launch the GSAT-17 from French Guiana on June 28, the third launch is less than a month. GSAT-17 is getting launched on June 28. We will be working on the replacement satellite for IRNS-1. Our plan is to have 2 Mark II and 2 Mark III launches apart from 8 to 10 PSLV launches per year, a beaming ISRO chairman A.S. Kiran told reporters after the successful launch of PSLV C-38. He was addressing the media after ISRO's Workhorse rocket, the Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, in its 40th flight, PSLV C-38, successfully launched the CARTOSAT-2 series satellite, a dedicated one for the Defense Forces, along with 30 nano-satellites from the Satish Dhawan Space Center here. ISRO was geared up for the launch of GSAT-17 and lined up more for the future, he said. Indians working on world's biggest telescope, Ladakh possible site for installation. Union Minister Harsh Vardhan today lauded Indian scientists' contribution to the world's biggest telescope, which would enable astronomers to observe the intricacies of the universe from the comfort of the Earth. Vardhan said the site for the telescope, a multi-million-dollar project being developed by an international consortium including India, was still being finalized. Hanley in Ladakh was one of the sites being explored. The sites would be evaluated for technical and logistical suitability, the Minister of Science and Technology said, hailing Indian scientists as among the best in the world. India's contribution to the 30-meter telescope, TMT, project would be more in terms of hardware than money, he said, adding that India would spend Rs 1,300 crore on it. The ambitious next-generation TMT is to be built at an estimated cost of $1.47 billion by an international consortium consisting of institutions from India, the United States, Canada, Japan, and China. China asks India and US not to disturb peace in South China Sea. China on Friday asked India and the US not to disturb peace and in the strategic South China Sea and play a constructive role in the disputes there, as the issue was likely to be discussed during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's meeting with President Donald Trump. Modi will meet Trump on June 26. He will hold talks with Trump on a range of bilateral, regional, and international issues of common concern. Asked about the cooperation between India and the US on Indo-Pacific region, which includes the South China Sea plus, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Geng Shuang said the situation in the disputed region was cooling down. With concerted efforts of China and ASEAN countries, the situation there is cooling down. We hope other countries, especially non-regional countries, can respect the efforts by the regional countries to maintain peace and stability in the South China Sea and can play a constructive role in this regard, Geng said. China claims sovereignty over all of South China Sea. Vietnam, Malaysia, the Philippines, Brunei, and Taiwan have counterclaims. Highlights. South China Sea is likely to be discussed during Modi's meeting with Trump. China claims sovereignty over all of South China Sea. China is engaged in territorial disputes in both the South China Sea and the East China Sea. North Korea tests rocket engine, possibly for ICBM, U.S. officials. North Korea has carried out another test of a rocket engine that the United States believes could be part of its program to develop an intercontinental ballistic missile, a U.S. official told Reuters on Thursday. The United States assessed that the test, the latest in a series of engine and missile tests this year, could be for the smallest stage of an ICBM rocket engine, the official said, speaking on condition of anonymity. A second U.S. official also confirmed the test but did not provide additional details on the type of rocket component that was being tested or whether it fits into the ICBM program. One official said he believed the test had taken place within the past 24 hours. The disclosure of the engine test came a day after the United States pressed China to exert more economic and diplomatic pressure on North Korea to help rein in its nuclear and missile programs during a round of high-level talks in Washington. U.S. President Donald Trump has warned that a major conflict with North Korea is possible over its weapons programs, although U.S. officials say tougher sanctions, not military force, are the preferred option.